Hello, hello, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite subjects ever, and that is practicing cottage witchcraft. I am a cottage witch, if you didn't know, and I'm going to just break it out a little bit more about what that is and the practicing piece of it. Um, a lot of times, just real quick, practicing cottage witchcraft for me is filling my home with things that I love to create a certain energy. Um, Only inviting in people I feel very comfortable, which is hardly any, and then practicing gratitude. In short piece, that's just what it is. But I'm going to go into details, obviously more to it than that. But me as a cottage witch, basically, I define my practice. I had to really think, I wanted to think about this a lot on how I define mine. And basically, it's about protection, healing, prosperity. Those are sort of the main points that sort of guide me on practicing. So the protection piece is going to be the home itself, my cottage, my family, friends, loved ones of sorts. Also, protection over the work that I do. So it's not just people and, things and places, but it's also the actual energy, protecting the energy when I'm manifesting, when I'm doing any sort of spell work, ritual. I want to protect that energy, especially, very young seedling type magic work where you just barely have an idea and you need help building it, or you're barely making a connection with a specific spirit or deity, a goddess, what have you. And I'm really trying to just build that out. Yeah, I want to protect the energy around that. So I definitely work on doing protective work in that capacity. And then there's healing. So the healing piece is myself, energy in the home, others, sometimes a situation. I'll say, I'm adding healing energy to it as well. And then the prosperity, yes, physical money, wealth, actual physical money, yes. And then being prosperous as in successful. In what I'm doing, any sort of endeavors or lending that energy to someone else that I care about as well. So those are kind of like the three main points to how I act my practicing of cottage witchery. And I have an entire cottage introduction to cottage witchery course. It's free over Google Classrooms. There should be a link in the description for that as well, if you want to get more into the nitty gritty about cottage witchery. So that is there. You can skim through as self-paced. Vibes. I want to talk about vibes. I usually wouldn't have used that word, but I know it's popular right now, so we're just going to say vibes. So when you're a cottage witch, vibes are everything. I'm very sensitive to energy shifts in my space, but in general, within myself and just around me, I'm very sensitive to that. So a big part is me balancing energy. It starts with me, the practitioner, the witch, and then, it builds out into the home. However, it starts with me, but when I'm not feeling as balanced as I would like, sometimes I tap into the energy of my home. And this is where it gets a little deeper in the practice of cottage witchery. It's not just about, it is a lot about protective work and, lighting incense, and creating sprays and oils and things like that around the house and markings and all that sort of stuff. It's a lot of the craft projects I do and all that sort of stuff. It's a lot of that, and decor. It's also more than just that, though. It's also keeping the energy balanced. This is focused, intentional type of ritual work. It's not something you have to do every day. You may not even have to do it every week. It could be a yearly practice as far as keeping the energy balanced in your home. The thing about that is when you do that and you practicing magic in the home is feeding more energy in. So when I say it starts with you, what type of magic are you doing? What type of energy are you putting out there? Because the residuals are in the house, in the home, your space that you're in as a cottage witch. Well, as a witch in general, but I'm speaking as a cottage witch. So I'm intentional about that. So for me, that magic that permeates to the house, that's creating an energy, is basically creating energy, and that energy can talk back. It can lean. I can call on that. The more you do, the more magic, the more rituals, that energy starts working with you. It becomes its own thing, its own spirit. So I can tap into that. So if I'm not balanced, I'm not doing, it's great. Or I'm just not at my witchiest, I'm not at my strongest point, powerfully speaking, to do spells, rituals, because there's some other things happening. I can easily tap into that as well. So that's one of the great things I love about Cottage Retreat, because it's not so much about a goddess energy. It's you're tapping into something that you've created. You've birthed that energy by the labor of practicing witchcraft, if that makes any sense. So I find that fascinating about Cottage Retreat. Balancing energy in your home, by the way, can mean offerings. Yes, to the house spirits as well, because they're active as well. I know a lot of people get a little leery about the idea of house spirits and what that means, depending on, what path you follow. Some people aren't comfortable with the concept of fairies. No, that's not specifically European. The concept of fairies is not only European. There might be a different way of looking at it, but we're talking generally about the same thing. So keep an open mind. First of all, with witchcraft, you need to keep an open mind anyway, am I right? So I'm just going to say now, making part of my practice is making offerings. I am not on a schedule. It is when I feel like I should. That's how I work. Cleaning, physical cleaning, mundanely cleaning is key. Yes, keep a clean home. Do you need to be walking around every 5 minutes, wiping everything? No. Dust collects. I still like my windows right now. I need to clean those windows, and I need to clean those blinds, because I'm looking at a nice thin layer of dust that has collected. And that's just real life. We don't always keep up with, all the little things, but it's something I'm aware of, and I'm going to finish it, because let me explain to you why it's important besides just the overall health of you. You living in the home, it's not good to be breathing that in with allergies and all that. Also, metaphysically speaking, it represents stagnation, and you don't want that. So as a cottage witch, that's important to me. So when I do my cleaning, I notice, I'm aware, I'm intentional about it. I'm aware of how I feel once everything is in order and it's clean, which is my next thing, is organizing. Organize your stuff. Listen, it doesn't have to look, Pinterest worthy to everyone else, but if it makes sense to you, that's all that matters. It's good for the mind to keep the focus when you're looking for a specific deck of cards, a certain color candle, a specific incense, or some other magical supply that you had, and everything is scattered all over the place. No. Now, some of us have organized chaos, so to everybody else it looks a mess, but you know exactly where things are. If that works for you, that's awesome. I'm a little bit like that. The other thing is purifying, cleansing, metaphysically speaking, your home. Do that as much as you think you need to. I don't think there's a rule on that. For some people, they don't feel like it's something, they don't need to sage their house every Sunday, every week, every day, every month. That's something they do as needed. I'm kind of an as needed person at this stage. I feel pretty positive about things. I've been doing some other work anyway, so I don't feel the need to do the saging as much. It's there when I need it. I tend to sage myself more so than the space, because I feel like the energy here is neutral, and that's kind of what I like, just neutral. Sometimes it's me, so I'll do a smoke cleanse on myself. Overall, being a cottage witch is about practicing. To me, it's simplicity. And that's one of to me, the attractive qualities of being a cottage witch. I've created a spiritual path that has some level of routine and organization to it. I need that. I like the idea of being an eclectic witch. I thought that was great. I still think that's great. However, I need just a wee bit structure so that I can be consistent and I can have some follow through and some, actual success, let's be honest, doing spell work and being a witch. But there is simplicity. So, basically it's just living intentionally. It's living in your space with intention. You're doing a lot of the normal things you do to function in your home with intention. That's basically, I mean, kind of to sum it up. Now, simplicity does not take away from the power of being a cottage witch. Just to be clear, you have a built-in self-care routine the more you get into cottage witchery, because part of which I talk a lot about balancing energies and kind of keeping things, somewhat as a neutral state. When you need to tap in and do more, you can, and raise energy, which is perfect for self-care, mentally speaking, emotionally speaking. And then from a physical point of view, a lot of us, if our eyes see order on some level, and again, I'm not talking about Pinterest-worthy organization, but just order. When you have the things that you love in your space, it's not about cost factors, what you love and appreciate. That does something to you. You can have physical reactions from that where you smile because you genuinely feel happy and you're grateful, right? And then that releases a chemical that actually releases chemicals being in that space, which makes you happy, makes you feel good. So great for self-care. Healthy habits. The simplicity of cottage witchery lends easily to healthy habits. Okay, so you've created this moon water that you put out on your windowsill or maybe outside on your deck or back patio, porch, what have you. So you want to make sure you use that water, you actually drink it. So let's say you make huge batches of it so that you can increase your water intake. Healthy habits, things like that. Meditation, mindful meditation. That's part of it. When you're focusing on the energy of the home and in balance, and when you're tapping into it, that's a form of meditation. That's also a very healthy habit. Again, all of this type of stuff, everything I'm talking about here, opens you up to spirit. It opens you up to being focused and just overall more balanced, which at least it has for me. And the things I'm talking about, again, it's not something, it's where it would be great if we could all do these things every day at the same time. But, life doesn't work that way for everyone. But the mere fact that you're open to this and you try some of the time is better than doing nothing and just sort of being in a state of always consuming media, and sort of like checking out on life and spirituality. So now I just want to talk a little bit about spells, rituals, and magic as a cottage witch, how that differs from other witchcraft. I kind of alluded to that a little bit. I can tap into the energy vortex, I was trying to think of the right word, in my home to lend energy to my spells. Sometimes I feel like there's energy here that might give me pause and kind of make me back up a little bit. Because I do have altars set up in my home, I believe that, those portals are active and they exist. So that's great for ritual work as well. Part of my cottage witchery is going to have an altar set, at least a altar if you're practicing witch, but I have more than one. And then the magic itself, I feel like my home, came from magic. It came from magic. I talked about this in my series, but in other videos as well, how I manifested the very place that I live in right now. So it is a product of magic. So I feel, therefore, it is a magical space. And I really do feel like I've really grown into witchcraft even more living here. So that might not be your situation, but you can eventually make your home feel magical, which will then make you feel magical and make you more successful with your spells, rituals, and just feeling like, a badass witch. Overall, I'm feeling powerful. So that's my description of practicing cottage witchery and what that looks like. So thank you for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. What type of witchcraft do you practice? I'm really curious. And as always, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.